And welcome to Hannity Tonight. President Obama lashes out at Christians and the Fox News channel. Now, audio of an interview that the president did in mid-September has just been released. Now, listen to him as he takes major shots at Christians.
Here in the United States, sometimes Christian interpretation seems to posit an us versus them. How do you reconcile the idea of faith being really important to you and you caring a lot about taking faith seriously with the fact that, at least in our democracy and our civic discourse, it seems as if folks who take religion the most seriously sometimes are also those who are suspicious of those not like them.
Now, remember, this is a president who goes to great lengths to defend Islam. Remember these things.
The United States is not and will never be at war with Islam. And I'm also proud to carry with me the goodwill of the American people and a greeting of peace from Muslim communities in my country. Assalamu alaikum. Islam is not part of the problem in combating violent extremism. It is an important part of promoting peace. Our enemies respect no religious freedom. Al-Qaeda's cause is not Islam. It's a gross distortion of Islam. The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam. ISIL is not Islamic. No religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim. We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Sorry, Mr. President, but the Islamic State is radical Islam. And the president loves to lecture Christians about what they should and shouldn't be doing while praising Islam and ignoring the fact that he sat in the pews of Reverend Jeremiah Wright's church for 20 years. And as a reminder, here are some of the vile things that his ex-pastor said in the Church of GD America.
We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye. Because the stuff we have done overseas is now brought right back into our own front yards. America's chickens are coming home to roost. No, 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 not God bless America, God damn America, that's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human.
And that's not all. During the same interview, President Obama once again attacked the Fox News channel. Listen to this.
It's interesting because we're talking in Iowa. People always, I think, were surprised about me connecting with folks in small town Iowa. And the reason I did was, first of all, I had the benefit that at the time nobody expected me to win. And so I wasn't viewed through this prism of Fox News and conservative media and making me scary. At the time, I didn't seem scary other than just having a funny name. I seemed young.
Here with reaction, 2016 Republican presidential candidate Senator Ted Cruz, who, by the way, now has leapt into third place in the latest Fox News poll. He is only one of 3 candidates now in double digits, as we put it up on the screen. Senator, this is now a growing trend. You have been now increasing your numbers in the polls. You also had an incredible quarter in terms of donations. What is going on? This is obviously now a pattern. Things have changed for the better. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, you know, Sean, I'm very encouraged by the momentum we're seeing. Historically, in the Republican primary, there have been 2 main lanes, a moderate lane and a conservative lane. And in past cycles, the moderate lane, there's been a consensus choice early on, and that person has all the money. And on the conservative lane, nobody's had any money, and we've fought like cats and dogs and splintered the vote. That's how the moderate wins the nomination and then goes and loses the general. Well, this cycle, that whole thing is flipped. It's backwards. The moderates, that lane is crowded as all get out. They're fighting like crazy. And on the conservative side, what we're seeing is conservatives uniting behind our campaign. You know, you look at the 2 candidates who dropped out, Scott Walker and Rick Perry, both very good men, good governors. they were competing in the conservative lane. And what we're seeing every day is more and more conservatives uniting, saying we don't need another establishment candidate to lose the race. We need a strong conservative who will stand up and take on Washington. I think that's why we've got the incredible momentum we've got right now.
All right, let me ask about what you just heard from the president. I mean, he's sat in the pews of right for 20 years, lectures Christians repeatedly now, you know, horrible deeds done in the name of Christ, and bends over backwards on the issue of Islam. How do you interpret this president? Add to that the Iranian deal, which is, to me, a matter of madness and insanity. What do you make of it?
Listen, the far left has always had a strong anti-American streak, and it's always had an antipathy for Christians. That is true of the far left. It's been true from the very beginning. And so, you know, you listen to Reverend Wright's sermons, they're stomach-turning, but they actually reflect the views of the hard left. You know, Obama was 4 years ahead of me at Harvard Law School, and I've described Obama as the perfect Harvard Law School president, because he reflects the views of the elite academy. Now, when Obama and I were both students, this is not an exaggeration, Sean, there were fewer professors on the Harvard Law School faculty who were Republicans than there were communists. More professors, if you asked them, would say, I'm a Marxist. That's the world Obama came from. And if you look at the elite academy, if you look at the far left, they view America's role in the world as fundamentally illegitimate. You listen to what Jeremiah Wright is saying. Americans' foreign policy, in their view, has been wrong. It is oppression. It is hegemony. Now, you and I both know that is utter nonsense. America has been an incredible force for good in this world. No nation in the history of the world has spilled more blood or treasure for freedom. And yet the far left, out of which Barack Obama arose, despises American leadership in the world. If you want to understand where leading from behind comes from, it is from those fever pitches of the far left that believe America's leadership in the world is wrong. And that's why the world has gotten so dangerous with America no longer leading.
60% of Republicans feel betrayed by Washington Republicans. You're not included in that list. And those predictions that your filibuster would lead to a disaster in 2014, that never materialized. Do those Republicans deserve that label, betrayed? That is a severe term.
Well, it is, but the problem is Republican leadership keeps making promises to the American people, and then they violate those promises. You know, what I have urged leadership in both the House and Senate to do is simply do what we said we would do. We campaigned and said we would fight to stop Obamacare. How about we do it? We campaigned saying we would fight to stop President Obama's unconstitutional executive amnesty. How about we do it? We said we'd stop taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. We said we'd stop this catastrophic Iranian nuclear deal. How about we do it? And every time I stand up and fight against Obama and for the priorities we promised the American people, do you know who's fighting on the other side? It's not even Obama. It's leadership in the Republican Party who are fighting to fund every one of Barack Obama's priorities. That's why the American people feel betrayed.
It's inexplicable to me. Why then make the promise if then they're going to, and then attack the guy that's trying to make, keep the promises that all of them made? Why? It's like you've become a pariah among Republicans for just attempting to keep a promise. What has happened there? That things have gotten so distorted that they have lost touch this way.
Well, but it's not about me. It's not about any one person. It's about the American people. I'm trying to give voice to the frustration of the American people, and leadership looks down on the voters who elected us. That's the divide, and what they don't like is anyone who stands with the American people and says, it's a very simple message. Let's do today what we said in September, October, November of the election year we would do. You know, I spent 2 months at the end of 2014 traveling the country with Senate candidates all over the country. I think I slept in my own bed 4 or 5 nights in those last 60 days campaigning to win the Senate. And I stood next to Senate candidate after Senate candidate who promised, give us a majority, retire Harry Reid, and we will stand and fight. And here's the problem. Republican leadership, not only do they not want to fight, but they are fighting to fund Obama's
Do those
priorities.
senators
Every
want to
single
fight?
one of Obama's
Do
priorities.
those people that made those promises, do they stand with you? Or have they been co-opted already?
You know, leadership can be very effective wrapping people in their arms. I sure hope we see more Republicans standing up and just doing what we said we would do.
All right, stay right there. We're gonna...
You know, it's interesting.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was saying I'm traveling right now through Iowa. We're doing a barnstorming tour. We do town halls all over the state. And I ask people, I say, we were told in 2010, give us a Republican majority in the House and things will be different. Millions of us rose up. We won a majority. Very little changed. Then we were told the problem was the Senate. We had to retire Harry Reid. Millions of us rose up. And I asked people in town halls all over Iowa, in 10 months of Republican control of both houses of Congress, what on earth have they accomplished? Now, every town hall I've ever done, the answer is the same. People call out absolutely nothing. And, you know, sadly, Sean, the answer is worse than nothing. It would have been better if they'd done nothing. What, in fact, they've done, right after the election, Republican leadership came back, joined with Harry Reid, passed $1 trillion omnibus bill filled with pork, filled with corporate welfare. Then they funded Obamacare. Then they funded amnesty. Then they funded Planned Parenthood. And then Republican leadership took the lead confirming Loretta Lynch as Attorney General. Every bit of that is exactly what Harry Reid, the Democrats, would have done. That's why people are so frustrated.